Dana, welcome to the Calm Mom podcast. So I was actually just on your show. We're like doing a little
We
back
do
and
a
forth. So
back to
this is like
back.
an extension of the conversation we've been having. But you guys probably know the Boss Mom podcast. I've been listening to your show for so long, and I'm so excited to welcome you here today. So thanks for being with us.
Oh, I am pumped to be here. I could
So
talk to you
great.
all day, so this is fun.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Um, okay, so for people who aren't familiar with your work, tell us a little bit about like you, what you're doing, and then I want to hear a little bit about the shift, but more so like what you're seeing as far as trends and needs and opportunities to help empower, I guess, and like give the mamas what they need so they can do all the things.
Yeah. Um, Interestingly, I think I am probably very much like our ideal person,
Yeah, same.
which is I love being a mom. I always knew I wanted to be a mom.
Mhm.
I also feel like being a mom is a long game.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of really big dreams. I have a lot of really big things. I had big dreams before I had kids. Um, Having a family was never my purpose. I can piss some people off by saying like I don't think it's healthy for our kids to be the only purpose we have. I think it's
Agreed.
important for our kids to
Yeah.
be an intensely important priority, an
Yes.
intensely important part of our lives.
Yeah.
We should seek to mentor our children instead of manage our children, like
Amen.
all of those things. But man, if they don't see me striving for more,
Yeah.
then I'm just going to raise a daughter who thinks that once you have kids, that's it. And I refuse to live in that world because there's too many
Yeah.
smart, amazing women that should be doing more. So when
Yeah.
I always knew I got pretty much laid off, right? Like the husband and wife at the last company I worked at split up. I could see the writing on the wall. So I went and kind of proactively, like saw that people were getting let, proactively went and talked and said, here, give me 90 days. I went to go find a job and couldn't find anything that I really wanted. I was up for this one last final position that I was like, if I don't get this, I'm just going to start my own consulting thing. And they called me and they were like, Dana, we're going to give it to this other guy, but we loved you. We would love
Mm.
to work with you. But you didn't have this one thing that this one guy had. And it turned out to be a godsend because I was like,
Yeah.
okay, but then I could work with you without being a full-time person and we could just do a project together. And I'm an Enneagram 7 Gemini. I own wigs like for every Halloween that's ever been. And sometimes when it's not Halloween, like I love if I'm going to like go to a baseball game, I'd look like the person that goes to a baseball game. Like I am truly love variety, love change. I've moved every 2 years since I feel like when I was a kid. And even now, like I get antsy.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so it was like consulting could be great. So I got into it, but immediately, like I had been trying to get pregnant, but I was working 14-hour days, director level. It
Yeah.
wasn't working. And like the night that like everybody took me out my last day at New Year's, everybody took me out, tequila shots, we're having fun. 6 weeks later, I'm pregnant. Right.
Of course.
Which I call him my former husband. My former husband was like, "Don't you think that's a little bit too much information?" And I always joke when I'm on shows, I'm like, "If you can't handle where babies come from, like you're not going to make it in business for sure." But like, yes, and so I was faced with this thing of like I wanted kids, and I also wanted to figure things out.
Yep.
I felt intensely alone. I felt intensely scared.
Yeah.
And then once my son came, I'll be honest, I was super excited about building a website and finding
Yeah.
clients and less excited about my child. And not
Mhm.
because I didn't love my child,
Right.
but man, I don't think we have enough discussion about how birth is a trauma. I don't think we have enough discussion about
Yes. Yes.
how
Yes.
intensely new you were, like an intern who was
Yeah.
being asked to be the CEO
Yes.
on a ship that is on fire.
Yes.
Right? Like
Yes.
it's like, holy crap. And so breastfeeding was hard. Everybody,
Yeah.
I tell people, they're like, Dan, if you could give one piece of advice for a new mother. And I'm like, don't let people hold your baby only on the good times, because then you find the only time left for you is the
The
feeding and
crying.
the sleeping and the changing, which are the intensely difficult parts. Like
Mm.
take your child, and when someone wants to hold and be like,
Wait
hold
till he
off there.
cries. You can have him.
This
Yeah.
is a happy child. You don't get my happy child. I get my happy
I
child.
love that.
When they start crying, you can take them for a minute because that's where I need help, And so I felt guilty that I didn't enjoy
Yeah.
parenting.
Yeah.
I saw it as a challenge. I wanted to
Mhm.
live up to it. I intensely loved my son, but I also wanted him to nap so I could do things that an adult does and
Yeah.
have a brain like an adult does and figure things out and build things and be
Mhm.
smart and be
Yeah.
respected. Right, man, there is nothing about parenting in a lot of ways that feels like you're respected. Like it feels like you're obligated. It feels like you're supposed to. And most of the world,
Mhm.
because half of people are parents, we look at it and we're like, yeah, you're a parent. So what? And you're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, like all of us moms, I don't think men have this same experience,
Mm-mm.
maybe, but I don't know. But I haven't heard men have the same experience.
Yeah.
We want to go like, where did my respect go? Where did
Yeah.
my legitimacy go? And for any of the women who are in high powered positions where you ran a team
Yeah.
and did that stuff, it
Yeah.
is an intense identity crisis.
Yeah.
I don't know where my value is. I know how much money I'm worth. I have no idea what the value of parenting is.
Yeah.
So basically, we ended up moving back out to San Diego where my parents are. And all of a sudden, all these people had businesses. I started to get into these, meetups and go to masterminds and events and things like that. And I met up with, got into this little mastermind, and Azul Turonis was in that group with me, and he writes, books, like publishes books and helps coach. And he's like, if anybody wants to write a book, like I will give you an amazing deal for this group. And I was like, I've always wanted. I was a journalism major. I want to write a book. I thought I was going to write a marketing book, right? Because that's my
Wow.
area of expertise in
Yeah.
messaging and words, like words. I love words. And instead, I wrote Boss Mom, and that's what I really wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about this, not just that like moms should be starting businesses because moms can do both.
Yeah.
I wanted to have this conversation about like you can't help yourself.
Mm.
You need to do it.
Yeah.
And it's important for your kids to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And how can we do it where we don't feel bad about it? Like one of our chapters is love is limitless. I can't love your business, which means you love your family less. Like
You're
that's
not
not how
going to
that
run
works.
out.
We're
Yeah.
now in the midst of rewriting the whole book to be so much more. I mean, I've got a decade now of
Yeah.
wisdom from coaching thousands of women, talking about, before it was me in my home being like, I think this is right, so we're going to write a book about it. Now I'm like,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
what this is, and we're much more in depth. But
Yep.
yeah, we put it out there, and it was like people were in a drought. Like they flocked to it. It did so well because it
Yeah.
wasn't just, hey, let's all do businesses together. It was like, let's be really honest about elements of parenting that is unfulfilling from a female human adult perspective,
Yeah.
and let's find ways to get both
Right.
without the guilt, like to feel
Yes.
proud about it, to feel excited about it, to know what
Yeah.
that does for our kids. And it just caught on like wildfire. So we started
Yeah.
the podcast and we started the Facebook group, which before we shut it down was 75,000
Massive.
people.
Yeah.
And that was a huge choice to do that. And then we started, we've just got all these things that we've just gone down this line. And each time we're trying to level up for this movement that I
Yeah.
think is still in its infancy. Like we can all
Yes.
say we're being honest about being moms and businesses, but we're kind of honest in like a funny meme kind of way.
Mhm.
Like nobody's really making real resources,
Yeah.
really making change, really showing the numbers of what it looks like and what our lives look like.
Yeah.
There is no more real support on a bigger level. We're all individuals trying to do something. So now
Yeah.
we're moving into boss mom being like, okay, we're going to step up and we're going to be that umbrella, like that everybody can come under and be that real change. Cause I mean, we just had the conversation on Boss Mom with
Yeah.
overwhelm and with burnout.
Yeah.
Like it's becoming a norm for moms.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, we need to nip that in the bud.
Yeah. And like what I'm hearing through all of this too, as you're sharing this, it's so awesome. And I'm like, it's no surprise to me that it all took off and that so many women resonated, because what a validation of what we're all experiencing, right? Like there's so many stories we can tell ourselves of like, well, maybe I'm just not cut out to do it all. Or maybe like I'll have to wait 20 years until my kids are out of the house and then I'll be able to open my business or pursue that dream or whatever it is. And it's
or
like,
I'll ruin my relationship with my kids by doing this.
yeah, right.
Or my partner or my spouse or my, yes.
And then the resentment and then the guilt and then all the stuff that's attached to it, right? All the expectations. Well, I should be able to do what my husband can still do it all. And it's like, well, it's not the same. It's not the same at all.
Yeah. And I'm a big believer that men and women are very different.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm a big believer that us as moms, like we should own it. Like, man, you need something done in 10 minutes because someone's napping and you don't know when they're going to wake up, do freaking a mom. Like you need her to like we have so many amazing things that I think the
Yeah.
problem is because we have so many delicious emotions, so many crazy multitasking capabilities, and so
Yeah.
much desire and excitement about
Yeah.
things outside of just parenting.
Yeah.
And then add that in with the social media overwhelm of
Yeah.
information and opportunity. Like, man, we're in this
Comparison.
time of
Yeah.
intense, amazing opportunity. And you'd think that would be great. But what we're entering, if we're talking about like overwhelm for moms, I think we're all in decision
Fatigue. Yeah.
paralysis.
Yeah.
And I often think that I see a lot of moms that are in decision PTSD. They've made a decision they didn't feel like was good, investing in something, doing something, trying something that they wasn't a good timing, or that they gave up
Yeah.
on, or they got pregnant
Mhm.
again, or something happened. And yeah, and it's like if you went to Silicon Valley, right? And you looked, every
Yeah.
single one of the people that do startups, they pivot, they start a business, they move, they change their mind, they do something, they're
Yep.
figuring out like, yet as women, we seem to think that changing our mind makes us broken, makes us
Yeah.
emotional, makes us so that adds to the guilt, it adds to the
Right. It's
overwhelm. Like,
liability.
yeah, like all of these things. And it's like, man, if we could just show you, those are freaking being able to pivot in the way we can, being able to get excited about a new
Superpower.
idea, being able to outline these things, like being able to come together, camaraderie, community, like
Yes.
being able to tie stuff, being able to deal with, like you were saying, the capacity for logistics,
Yes.
like,
And everything.
and
Capacity for
life and
emotions, capacity
friction. Oh
for
my gosh, like,
requests, like all of it.
yeah, we are meant to run things. I
Yeah.
don't think people will argue, like I've had this argument because I'm like, I don't want to be a part of a revolution where we get more female CEOs. I'm sorry, I don't care, because I don't think most of the female population wants to run a multi-billion-dollar company. I
Yeah.
think most of the women want to be their own CEO,
Amen.
and we need to start doing the revolution of moms who run their own businesses.
Yeah.
And screw that. Don't even be CEO. Just be middle management and just don't worry. Like, yeah, like this
Yeah.
idea, like most of our moms don't want to build empires. They
Yeah.
don't want, like, the idea of a multi-million-dollar business sounds good, but most of them will self-sabotage it because it comes with so much work, so much commitment, so much expense.
Yeah.
We want safety. We want security. We want an
Ease.
appreciation loop. We
Yeah.
want impact.
Yes.
We want to
Yes.
wake up in the morning and go, wow, the world's a better place because I'm in it. But I also could lay in bed for an extra 30 minutes and we'd
Yeah.
all be fine.
Yeah.
Where's that
Exactly.
balance? I want that balance.
Yes. And like even within that too, like, yes, I want to make an impact and I want to do it in a way that like we all know to a certain extent, like what are my giftings? What are the things that I actually enjoy doing that don't necessarily feel like work? Like how am I monetizing those things? You know, like that's so life-giving.
Yeah. It's hard though, because nowadays we get marketed to earlier than we're ready. So we're constantly seeing these things of being like, and it's hard not to be frustrated when the market tells you, you don't have an idea, you have no expertise. Like, that's great, because half of me goes, awesome, that, like, there's so much opportunity. And then the other half of me is a ton of people that are really, we started to have this conversation, they're
Yeah.
monetizing their healing, right?
Yeah.
They're still in the wounds part, but they're told monetize it. And by the way, you don't. I have worked with thousands of women. You make that course, you pay for that thing, you don't sell it, right?
Mm,
You start that thing, you make
right.
that partnership, you do that pot, you do things, and
Love
you
that.
don't finish it, or you get
Yeah.
burnt out. And you get burnt out because you are trying to create this legitimacy about something you're not confident that you're an expert in.
Yeah.
And it's this headbutting
Yeah.
that becomes overwhelming and
Mhm.
end up leading to burnout, because you're literally living two lives in your head because
Yeah.
somebody told you monetize that thing. Like, dude, I want every mom to monetize all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Monetize your scars. Like, figure out what
Mm,
your scars are. And what's funny is
yeah.
I had this conversation with somebody, by the way, and she wanted to go down this path of, for years, she's wanted to go down this path of sexualness, like finding your sexuality,
Yep.
especially as, over 40.
Yep.
And, but she's had a lot of sexual trauma, and she's
Mm,
gone through this, and she's had so much progress, and it's so amazing. And we finally sat down to talk it because she could not get it to work. She's doing this business, burnout, just massive stress. And I just said, can we have a really honest conversation? She's like,
mm,
yes. And I was like, I think you are trying to monetize something that you do not, that is still an open wound.
yes.
And so every time somebody goes to try and talk about it, you are emotional about it because you're still in it. And
Yeah.
therefore it validates that you're not healed yet. And so
Yeah.
you are constantly purposefully telling yourself that you're not fixed over and over and over again because you're trying to make it this business. This other thing that you do, like, could we go over here? And so she started to do that and started making money doing something else that just is allowed her
Mhm.
healing path to be healing,
Yeah.
and that did that. And the funny part is that she's now getting clients who do that, who are
Mhm.
trying to monetize this pain that they have.
Yeah.
And her scar is that she did that too. Her scar is that I can tell you exactly what it's like to go down this path and feel so passionate about it, but not feel like you're an expert in it because you're
Yeah.
still in it. Have it so hard to sell, allowing your healing path to be what it is
Yeah.
without trying to make it a business, and go over in this other area where you are completely fine and aren't, it doesn't feel like a part of your identity,
Right.
and let this heal and then come back. Like, that's, I tell her, like, that's your scar now you can. And so
Yeah.
she's now having that conversation, and that's working because
Yeah.
she can talk about it without being emotional because she
Mhm.
has gotten past the healing. And
Yeah.
so I think moms, it's like, if we're looking at overwhelm and everything, sometimes it's because we're trying to push ourselves to the finish line
Yeah.
so that somebody told us we could make a course or do a thing on
Right.
something that we're not at the finish line yet. And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that, by the way. You just either have to teach somebody the very beginning where you are past it,
Yeah.
or allow yourself to go towards something else that you really enjoy and you're really good at,
Yeah.
and monetize that until your healing journey becomes a scar, and now you have some wisdom to teach. And
Yes.
that can make
Mhm.
a huge difference in, I think, like, how we perceive ourselves, because I do think, like, the overwhelm and burned out can really happen if we tell ourselves we're one thing, but we constantly wake up in the morning and don't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And I think it also comes from a place of like pushing and pressure and proving and striving, which is hard to be in when you're also in a place of trying
Mm-hmm.
to heal on a healing journey. And I wonder, like, because I would imagine that men in that same situation probably wouldn't feel the same pressures to have to monetize or prove or legitimize their healing while they're in it, or if they even have that awareness. But I wonder if that's something that we uniquely feel like. Where does that pressure come from to do it in the moment, to like legitimize it or make it worth it or productive or whatever we say?
Well, I mean, there's a couple things. I do think, going back to that idea of, we don't know what the monetary value of parenting is. We don't know what that is. And so and since we're brought up correlating value to money,
Yeah.
to jobs, to things like that, I
Yeah.
think then we become a parent and we go, what's my value?
No, what am I
And
worth?
then for a lot of the women that are attracted to boss mom, they're moms that want to be involved. We have a
Yeah.
lot of homeschooling moms that volunteer, moms that just are very involved with their kids' lives, no
Yeah.
matter what the level is. I've stopped interviewing people on the Boss Mom podcast that were like, yeah, I just, worked 15-hour days and we got a lot of help and I didn't really see my kids much, but now I've got $1 million business. And I'm like, yeah, none of my audience is willing to make that sacrifice. It's just
Yeah.
not a thing. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. And so I do think that we have that, like, I think moms come across this thing of just having this need.
Mhm.
They're like, I just have this need. And because we see out in the world like this need, then they go, well, but there's a monetary value. So I have
Yeah.
this need, this feeling like I want to impart this knowledge or tell somebody, or I want to do this thing, then they go and they seek it. Or women that are like, I just don't want to work full time, or I've got enough kids, or I homeschool where I can't work full time, or I
Yeah.
stayed at home. Now my kids are 5, they're starting to go to school, and I don't know what to get back into because the thing I
Right.
was in is hard to get a job in, or doesn't sound fun, or
Yeah.
I don't want to. Yeah. So it's like, it's all of this mix of identity crisis, of desire to be passionate about something.
Hmm.
And honestly, I think just a lot of moms are lonely. They want
Yes.
to they
Yeah.
want to come out and they want to be a part, not just a part of a community where we're going to talk about our kids. Like, they literally want to be a part of a community where you're not going to talk about it. We can all joke about it. You and I had a funny couple minute conversation.
Yeah.
We want to know about each other's families, but
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about
Real
this. I want to
stuff.
talk about
Yeah.
that.
Different.
I want to talk about your pelvic floor. I want to talk about,
Yeah.
like, there's just so
Yeah. Other
many
stuff.
things. yeah, to
Right.
talk about. And so I think they're searching for that. And the
Yeah.
business side allows you to feel like an adult.
Right.
Feel like an adult.
Yeah. Not talk about poop all day or whatever, whatever we talk about. Otherwise.
So much talk
So
about. And
much
once
poop.
your kids get old enough, it's like now my son wants me to see how healthy his poops are. It's like, how do I still,
We're still doing this.
how is this still a conversation?
Oh my gosh. So I wonder, because you deal with so many women in this space. And when we talk about kind of this tug to be doing something other than parenting, right? Or just outside of it. How often do you see like a shame and a guilt even associated with that desire? Because I could imagine that there's probably women who are like, well, like, why isn't parenting enough for me? Or why isn't whatever? And I wonder how much that keeps people either playing small or like not pursuing it.
I think a decade ago, there was more of that shame.
Ah,
I think there's a less of that shame of I'm a bad parent or no, that parenting should be enough.
it's parents
I
should
think
be.
I think I think we've
People have gotten over
now
that.
granted, I'm sure there's a ton of people that still feel that.
Yeah.
Generally though, what we see is there isn't the shame in trying something. Like we've over the last decade, and especially with the pandemic and bringing online, like having business, it's all very more normalized. Like it
True.
seems more like I remember back in the day, people are like, "I'm sorry, what do you do? What is it that you do?" I'm so confused, and it's still that way. If you got on an airplane, you said, "How many of you own your business online by coaching people?" And that barely anybody would stand up.
Right.
What I do see constantly is the shame of feeling like they are not legitimate, right? There
Hmm.
isn't a lot of data out there. What a business is still defined completely different than what's really happening.
Yeah.
Having multiple streams of revenue, having
Right.
inconsistency, right? Like moms work seasonally.
Yeah.
It's pretty, I mean, not all the time, but pretty much like 99% of the time they work seasonally or they wished they worked seasonally.
Right.
Summers are slower, holidays with family, like
Yep.
different things like that. And so there's an ebb and flow of our
Mm-hmm.
businesses that make us feel like we're not successful. So
Mm-hmm.
that feeling that it's not legitimate, it's not successful according to certain standards, Boss Mom wants to change what those standards are. Because I feel like the only way to make real shift is to
Yeah.
make cultural shift, is to make something cool, right? It's like,
I love
hey,
that.
we're
Yeah.
all benefiting from the fact that like caring up like your vagus nerve is a thing people think is cool to care about, and drinking
Yeah.
kombucha and being alcohol free is cool, and like
It
having
is.
a healthy body is cool. Like those things are awesome for us. Like the kind of
Yeah.
parenting that is cool right now. It's like
Yep.
those are great. Yeah, so it's like we got to culturally make it cool to
Yeah.
run a business the way a mom needs to run a business.
Right.
Otherwise, the shame of that it's not real and it's not legitimate. That
Yeah.
when I go to holidays with my family, they look at me like I've got that cute thing that I do,
A little side
unless I'm
hustle
a
on the side.
millionaire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the big thing that I see that we really want to make a shift of because it's unnecessary.
I completely agree. And also, I'm so curious to hear your thoughts on like, there are just some things that I think we have to do differently in running our businesses. And like, I feel like that can also be a pain point. Talk about overwhelm and burnout, right? That we're almost in denial. Like, well, I should be able to do it like 22-year-old Susie in the office does it. Or like, I should be able to do it like, 70-year-old Bill does it. It's like, no, it's not going to be the same. But like, what are
Yes.
some ways that women are like, maybe even blind to that? Like, hey, you not only like, can you do it differently, but like, you probably should do it differently.
Well, and the whole Boss Mom book, the big overarching premise is that moms have to proudly do business differently. And there's a couple ways
Yeah.
that that's really, really
Okay.
important. Number one, like we did a YouTube video on like, should you take advice from successful men? And one of the things that people in big entrepreneurs will often tell you, that I say don't listen to when
Yeah.
it comes to time management and priorities. So they'll go, it's a non-negotiable. I get up at 4 and from 4 to 10 a.m. And you're like, okay, so breastfeeding time is
Yeah.
basically what you're telling me.
Right.
The time that I have to get kids to school, so that time. Okay, that's non-negotiable for you because
Yeah,
your
not gonna
wife
happen.
watches your children, like, or you have no children, right?
Right.
There's a definite movement of people not having kids, and a
Yep.
lot of those people have time to start businesses and then give you advice when they have no idea what that looks like for you. So
No
I
idea.
take like time management and priorities. Someone will
Yeah.
say like your business just has to be the most important thing. You're like, well, you lost me,
Yeah.
because now if my business isn't the most important thing, I must be not able to be successful, or I
Right.
must be doing it wrong.
Yeah.
So that's the idea that people are putting out
Yeah.
from the way we manage time and the way we look at priorities
Yeah.
is, and I think you'll have somebody be like, you just need to batch your days. I'm like, okay,
I know. I've
maybe when
tried
my
so
kids are at
many
school,
times.
that's possible. But during summer, I'm sorry. Have you
Uh-huh.
like camps go from 9 to noon and they're always an hour away for some reason because the universe is just cruel that way. Right. And
Yeah.
your kids want to do different
I
things. So you're like,
know.
yeah. So it's all this stuff of like a lot of what we need to do from moms differently is one,
Mhm.
the way we manage time. And
Yeah.
we do things like the 10-minute rule, right? And we have a very specific way you break down your time towards how much mental effort, because how much your kids are in your space or needed
Okay.
by you depends on how much time, like how much ability you have. So we break it up by mental effort, right? And amount
This
of
is your
time. Now,
own
what we do,
ranking? Like, you
yeah, this is your
decide the
own
mental effort?
system.
Okay, tell
Yeah,
me more
I've
about
been
this. This
talking
is
about this
so
for years. I
interesting.
talked about this
Okay.
on Pat Flynn's podcast like
Okay.
7 years ago, and we
Wow.
still use it,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
So it's your 10-minute method. So you sit down and you go, okay, for today, here's my 7 things I want to do, right?
Okay.
And first you look and go, okay, like what takes 10 minutes? And if
Okay.
a task takes more than 10 minutes, then you have to break it down to something that could take 10 minutes. Right now, you
Yeah.
might end up doing it, and not big project. Don't use a project. Oh, the worst mistake moms do is get a huge project management system,
Okay.
as if planning out your 1,000 tasks is somehow and putting dates to them. Then your entire life is just changing those dates that you miss.
Oh,
Do
yes.
not get a project management system. Get like a piece of paper and a thing, or a list. Get a note to take to like get the back of an envelope. I don't care.
This is so
Like keep it
affirming to me.
simple. Keep
Okay.
it simple, right? And so you just do the list of this. And then if it takes more than 10 minutes, just break it down. If you're like, I need to write a book, and you're like, okay, that's not going to happen today. I need to write a chapter. Okay, that might not happen today. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to write 500 words.
Okay.
Okay, that might not even happen today. You might end up having the time, but from a planning perspective, right? I'm going to write one paragraph.
Okay.
Now, if you know your kids are going to school, you got a ton of time. Maybe you're going to plan more. But if your kids are around, so you do that, you get down to the 10-minute increments, because if you have more time, if they sleep longer, you can take more.
More,
We
yeah.
do that. And then we do the mental thing. So is it take like low, medium, or high,
Okay.
right?
So
Of
after
your
you've broken it
mental
down.
attention. Yeah. Attention effort. So I take that list
Okay.
and I go, okay, does it take my, like, I'm looking and I'm like, okay, I've got to just go on and reply to things on social media. Okay. That's
Yeah.
low mental effort. Okay. I need to review client stuff and give feedback. Okay. That's
Mhm.
high mental effort. And I
Mhm.
do those things. And then the last one, if you have little tiny children, like under 5 years old,
Mhm.
I like to do the tactile one, the sensory one,
Okay.
right? So is it going to attract my child? Because when my daughter was young, right, I would look and I'd go, okay, if I've got to write an email on my computer, if I have to record a video, there is no humanly possible way she's not going to want to participate in that.
Yeah.
Now, there are things you can do. I got a keyboard that was like a wireless keyboard, and I'd give it to her. So she would sit next to me and write emails while I
Tight.
wrote emails.
I love
I
it.
would print out sales pages or things I was going to review, and she would draw on it and underline things and highlight things while I did. So letting your child mimic you can mean they
Yeah.
get their own, so they don't touch yours. So
Yep.
there are ways around that. But I
Yeah.
would do that. Yeah, I don't have to do it now. And oh my gosh, instead of deciding what I'm going to do on that list when I make the list,
Yeah.
it's just a list. So that when I go, oh, the kids are watching a show, and I have some like motivation, because the
Yep.
other thing is our kids have this deep, weird ability
Oh,
to
they
meet
know.
us
Spidey
exactly
sense.
when we are inspired,
When we're in
and then be
flow,
done with us exactly when we are totally deflated.
it's so true.
You wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, this moment, you're like, oh, I need this. And both kids somehow need, you're hungry. And then you got to make lunch. And then you do these things. And then all of a sudden you're like, I have no motivation. I don't even remember what I was inspired about or what I want to do. So you take this list and you go throughout the day. And then you just, when you have the space,
Yeah.
you match them together. I got 10 minutes and I've got a total silence. I'm going to hop in and do this. If it ends up 30
Yeah.
minutes, then you get 3 times as done. Now look at you. You're 3 times more productive as opposed to being 10% productive.
Oh,
right?
So
Now
good.
I'm looking at it and go, okay, my kids are running around, but
Yeah.
they don't need me. I'm going to hop on and do that thing that takes no mental effort because I can
Yeah.
do it while I'm cooking dinner,
Right.
right? I can message that person. Now all of a sudden, yeah, like, because the other thing is we feel so painfully unproductive. The
Yes.
other thing that we have to do from time management is just we're going to move slower.
Yeah.
And I joke about this. We have a YouTube video coming up that's like, that I might have already come out, but it's like the tortoise and the hare. Dude, the tortoise wins. But
Yes.
in my version, the
Okay.
tortoise wasn't slower than the hare.
It's just
In my
interrupted
version,
74
the
times.
tortoise had a small tortoise that needed to tie his shoes, but wanted to tie them themselves because they just learned how to tie them. And then they need a potty break, and then they need a snack, and then they need. So in my version, the tortoise, and they still won. You want to know why? Because they had this amazing commitment towards
Mm.
moving forward, because you are
Wow.
raising a child and that child is continually growing towards an endpoint where you release them
Yeah.
out into the world,
Yeah.
and you want that person to be as beautifully prepared and the kind of person you want to come home for the holidays, right?
Yeah.
And that means moms are in perpetual motion forward. And you know what that does? That means that yes, we can have overwhelm, yes, we can have burnout,
Yeah.
but we are in this trajectory, and we
Yeah.
can pick up these goals on the way, and we can pick
Yes.
up these things on the way. The
Yeah.
hare's over there thinking they accomplished something and they've got time and space and no commitment, and they take a nap. They may
Yeah.
move faster in the short run, but we get farther in the long run. So we've got to embrace moving slower, embrace taking our time, embrace the brainstorming we're constantly trying
Yeah.
to do. There is intense value. Like, I not only had people hire me, but I've gone through this process where we spent 6 months to decide if we wanted to do this one thing in our business. Like, people are like,
Mm.
Dana, Boss Mom Plus, man, it freaking came out of nowhere. It's like all of a sudden you did it, you shut down the script. I'm like, that we spent an entire year
Wow.
moving through the brainstorming process of what would this look like? Is this a good idea? If we shut
Mhm.
these things down, when would those need to happen? It was no doing. It was only contemplating. It was
Wow.
only figuring out. It was brainstorming. It was
Yeah.
going out and asking people
Yeah.
about this thing. And when it came time, action was fast. And that
Yeah.
was great. But it was like, man, moms, you need to give yourself time to marinate. We give
Yeah.
no marinating time. It's like,
Yes.
throw the
And like,
hamburgers on the grill. Someone's got to eat. Nobody can care what it tastes like, but we do
yeah.
care what it tastes like.
Mhm.
Marinate, like, let it
Yeah.
brainstorm, and find the people around you that want to brainstorm, because there's nothing more fantastic than the butterflies in your stomach of a new idea in a relationship. And there's nothing worse than you not having time to cultivate that relationship with that
Yeah.
idea. And
Yeah.
therefore it leaves, and you're the reason it left. Like Big Idea by Elizabeth Gilbert. She's like,
Yeah.
an idea will leave you and it will find somebody else. And then you will see that person being
Act on it.
successful
Yeah.
because that idea needed to be loved.
Yeah.
What we're doing is we're literally trying to speed date an idea and then ask it to marry us, and then and then live together. And then we wonder why that relationship is tumultuous. Like, we
Yeah.
didn't even get to know each other. Like, I want to write a book called Entrepreneurial Foreplay so bad someday. Someday I will, because it's just a
Yeah.
provocative concept and I love
Yes.
dating analogies. But man, like, date your ideas,
Right.
get to know them, like, feel that flutter and excitement, and then
Yeah.
take it slow. Every man coach, dating coach will tell you, like, you want to land a man that will marry you and be dedicated to you, take it slow.
Take it slow.
Have things going on. Like, do that
Right.
with your business and your ideas. Like,
And then
going
when you
slow,
get
moms need to do
married,
it.
you know what you're getting, right? Like all of that, you have that
And it's
intimacy.
good
You spend that
communication,
time
good
together.
boundaries.
Come on, the
You can be
foundation.
nothing other than yourself. Yeah, date your business, ladies. Do it.
I love that. You mentioned something when you were talking about like find someone to brainstorm with and share all this stuff with.
Mm-hmm.
And I like talk to us about, because I think so many of us when we're doing this too, it's like we already have like all the things. And then part of it's like, I'm going to find the moments that I have and just work on it myself. But we're wired differently than men to be social, right? And need that
Mm-hmm.
social connection. And I know that's building community has been a huge part of what you guys have done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think women tend to underestimate like how much power actually comes from being alongside other moms who are on a similar journey.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we have this weird need to be the one who has the answer. So I think we want community, but we have a hard time going, well, I'm going to go out and ask people what they're thinking, and I'm going to go and talk to friends and get their, so it's because we want the idea to be ours.
Sure.
We want to have done it. Like there's
Or to
somewhere
be
along
honest,
the
something
line.
about that also kind of feels tiring to me, where it's
Oh,
like
it's
you have so
freaking
much going
exhausting.
on already that I'm like, oh, the last thing I want to
No,
do
we
is
don't
like
want it.
go
I'm
to.
telling you that like I think there's so many things about being a woman where we're at odds with each other,
Yeah.
ourselves mentally, because somewhere along the line, somebody who needs to be kicked in the shin, by the way, just a good old kick in the shin, decided that culturally a strong, independent woman can do anything. And then we defined anything as everything.
Right. By herself.
And so, yeah, so it's like, well, I'm going to do all the things a man would do because I need to prove that I can. You're like, no, no, no. You should be able to take care of yourself
You
should you
could.
not have support in the areas of your life. But that
Yeah.
does not mean you have to do it all the time
Yeah.
to prove that you can. And
Yeah.
so we were in this constant freaking hamster wheel
Yeah.
of proving that we are strong, independent women. And that's why I think there's a huge rise right now of being like, you're enough, like
Yeah.
people pleasing, like
Yes.
someone should love you
Yes.
even if they're taking care of you and you're not taking care of them. You can be
Right.
loved for your sheer existence.
Receive it.
Yes. And you should love yourself so much that you get excited to improve. You shouldn't seek to improve to be loved.
You
Right.
have to earn
And I
it.
think a lot of
Yeah.
women, when they start their business, they are seeking love in a
Yes.
different way than what their family can give them. It's an
Yes.
intellectual love. It's impact love. And we call it the appreciation loop that we need. I need somebody to tell me I needed to hear that today. I need somebody to tell me helped me make this mind shift and
Yeah.
mindset shift and all that kind of stuff. Like we need that. We need that love. And so we go out to try and get it in our businesses. And yeah, it's just like we are messy. And that's the other things mom needs to do differently is that we want to feel organized. We want to feel like it's all figured out. Like if you go to a business, a startup, I've worked for a lot of startup companies early on in my career, dude, they are a hot mess.
Hot mess.
No training, no things. They have no idea what they're doing. They constantly change their mind all the time. Like we think, I wrote a book called Climb Your Own Ladder. Like you start as an intern in your business, embrace it, ladies. Because you know what an intern gets to do? They get to soak up all the learning. They get to mess up but not get fired because they were expected to mess up. They get to get the coffee. Maybe you'll get to drink it hot. No guarantees.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, it's just such a beautiful process to move up your own ladder. But we start our businesses thinking we have to be the CEO, and then we're going to fail because you were never prepared. You're also the intern of being a parent, by the way. You were never going to be the CEO when you had your baby. You were never going to be the CEO when you had your second or third baby because they're all different. Another cruel universe thing where you think you've learned and then the next child is completely the opposite. And then they all have to be in a car together, which is also cruel. I joke that there's no way God is a woman. It's just not, because she would just never. She would never.
It wouldn't happen like this.
No, this would not be. This would not be how it all went down. And we got this immense power, though. Like we can have children. We can do these things. Like, oh my gosh, such immense power. And with immense power comes just immense treacherous pain. It's not. You'd say immense power comes responsibility, but all superheroes are super overwhelmed and stressed out. And nobody takes care of them. Like it is a very good analogy to what it feels like to be a mom, because with great power comes great responsibility. And we seem to own that responsibility like a superhero would, which is nobody gets to know my real identity. And I go out at night and don't sleep so that I can save everybody. Like your business doesn't have to be a savior. It's not a charity. Build a business so that you can be charitable. Don't build a charity, right? Like you go slower, like manage your time in increments. Don't listen to or follow people that don't have the same priorities or time commitments that you have, right? Like brainstorm, like connect. Doing is, I tell you, is not the way to make money. Like I promise you, you think that's what you're supposed to be doing. It is not. The people who make money do a lot more thinking and very simple implementation. Like those are, I mean, there's a million ways I could tell you moms need to do it differently, but those are the big ones that I think cause all the shame, all the guilt, all the stuff.
I'm just gonna like let that sit because that's so good. That's so good. Tell us a little bit about the shift. Like what can people expect, or what can they look forward to? You talked about Boss Mom Plus, but tell people like what that is, what they can find there.
Yeah. So I think there's just a ton of individuals, and we've been a part of it. Boss Mom has
Yeah.
been more and more coaching and a community, and we built these things. But it is time. I've been jokingly saying, like, we say it, we need a village, but we finally built the village. Like, you don't have to go out and find your village. We built the village, and we're going to make it a
Mm.
self-sustaining village that within the next year, Boss Mom is going to be the size, Boss Mom Plus, in terms of the app and being able to be the social networking app that moms
Yep.
can go to, where they can get a more focused, distraction free place with other moms where they can grow their business. And I say that if we all just hired each other, we'd all have 6-figure businesses.
Come on.
Most of the moms I talk to are marketing to other moms because we get each other,
Yeah.
we understand it. So we want to build that. But even bigger than that, Boss Mom is moving from a coach, individual centric,
Yeah.
to a company centric. We are going to be the advocate and the umbrella for moms so that these single voices can come up. So think Forbes for moms. We're
Yeah.
going to start having people contributing.
Right.
Yeah. So just leaving out the Boss Mom is like, we're leveling up. So we're now going to be the
Yeah.
advocate and the umbrella. And what that means is we're going to start having, contributors come in and have content. We're going to be driving a ton of traffic so that one of the big things I find is that moms can have this idea, they can go out and they can be an expert, or they can execute, and they can build content, but they can't be a good parent, be a
Mm.
good woman, be a
Yep.
good wife, be a good expert, and be a good marketer. Like, one of
Mm.
those has to give. And a lot of times, most of our women don't want to be the marketing or selling. That's the unfun part. That's the unpassionate part.
Sure.
Right. And so for those women, we're trying to create ways through Boss Mom Plus, through getting them featured. We're going to start having lists at the beginning of 2025. So you'll be able to apply for those before that to be on up and coming boss moms. And then you can go out and tell people I'm on that list, which makes it easier to get business, gets it easier to be seen. So we're going to be doing all these different things that allow, and the surveys to show what, like, the real stats, like a year from now, you'll be, maybe 6 months from now, you'll be able to quote Boss Mom, and you'll start seeing it pop up that are like,
Yeah.
65% of moms have this time management situation. 40% of moms feel this way in their support. So we've got ones on time management, ones on family dynamic, one's on what revenue actually looks like for moms, and be like, oh my
Okay.
gosh, it turns out that a vast majority of moms are really only making 2,000 to 3,000 a month. And that's exactly right for me. But
Yeah.
I thought if I'm not making 10, 20,
Mm.
30,000 a month, I'm a huge failure, because the shame and the guilt needs to go away.
Yep.
And then we're going to really, just with the Boss Mom book and everything we're putting out, we are going to freaking make it so cool to run your business like a mom would. We're going
Come
to make it
on.
so, like, you come in at Christmas and they're like, oh my gosh, you run your business in a couple hours a day, and you do it in these in-between moments. Like, that's so cool. We're going to go into career days for our kids, and our kids are going to be freaking in awe of what we
Yeah.
get done and how cool it is, because it's different than what it used to be. And we're
Yep.
just shifting the norm. So like, Boss Mom is like, we are going to shift the norms. We're going to shift the way things work. We're going to give you the space. We're going to build your
Yeah.
village for you. So you don't even have to be on Instagram or Facebook or any of those
Come
social
on.
media platforms anymore.
Yep.
And we're going to bring us back to the brainstorming, the networking, the connecting, because we've been so deep in this info marketing, passive income thing.
Yeah.
And it sounds great if you were trying to be the millionaire, but in most cases, one, it doesn't work because
Yeah.
moms aren't getting that feedback loop, that appreciation loop they need. So let's
Yeah.
bring that back and make that the home base. Boss Mom is going to be the home base for moms, so that we have the safety, speaking about, all the things that we need, the safety
Yeah.
to be creative and go out and do other things. And that's what we want. And so that we can get the world to really see what we need, so that people invest in more tools that really actually help moms. Because I
Yeah.
can't handle one more funny meme that secretly is so raw and real that we want to go cry in the bathroom without
Yeah.
it being paired with an actual solution to the problem.
Come on. You are like you're the only one to lead this charge. I'm so grateful. I'm like sitting here. I'm like so inspired by your passion for this. And I'm like smiling ear to ear, because I'm like, this is so flipping needed. Like, there are so many women that I'm sure are going to be so impacted by this platform and the connection with each other and the validation and the empowerment and all of it. Right. And like, women are the most powerful force in the planet, right? Like, by far, especially moms, for all the reasons that you mentioned. So I'm so excited for everyone to try it out and be a part of it. It's gonna be massive. This is gonna be. I really think this is gonna be a huge shift for
And so
women across
everybody
the world.
knows it's taken me a decade to get here,
Yeah.
and that's how much time it was needed. Like I was
Mm.
an intern when I started Boss
Mm.
Mom in my own business, and now I'm officially moving into CEO role.
Come
And it
on.
took me almost a decade, and I wouldn't
Yeah.
change any of that. All of that
Beautiful.
was valuable. I made money along the way. We did amazing things. I've shifted, I've pivoted, we've opened, we've closed. I've done all of those things. Man, ladies, just like allow the time and enjoy the process, because if you
Thank
really
you
look
for
at it
that.
that way and you're
Yeah.
climbing your own ladder, then you can enjoy each process as opposed to thinking you're behind and
Yes.
unsafe because
Yes.
you're not at the top yet.
Yes. So everyone take a collective like exhale. You're right on time,
Yes.
right? I love that. Okay. So Boss Mom podcast, tell everyone where else they can connect with you, learn from
Yeah.
you, be involved.
Boss-mom.com. Super easy. And honestly, like if you Google Boss Mom,
Yeah, it'll come up.
I am the first thing that comes up.
Okay. They'll
I'm
find
the
you. You're
first thing.
not hard to
Yeah.
find.
So if you don't remember, it's boss-mom.com. And that's going to be everything, because we're going to have a whole new site
Okay.
depending on when this comes out.
Yep.
You'll be able to answer the surveys. You'll be able to get into our community. You'll be able to see Boss Mom Plus. You'll be able to look at the podcast. We're doing a
I
big
can't
shift. We
wait.
just got, yeah, there's so much that's going to, you'll be able to nominate yourself or somebody else for one of our lists. You'll be able to say you want to be a contributor, like all
Yeah.
of those things. Like we're about to make moms' lives easier, better, more exciting, in the sense that there's less shame, less guilt. And we are going to really, truly change how we see running a business should be and what we
Yeah.
want it to be. And we're going to make that the coolest thing on the block.
Come on. Okay. On behalf of all Boss Moms, I can't wait. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this. Thanks so much for being with us. I really appreciate just the way that this lights you up and the fact that you have the courage to pursue it. What an impact you're going to have. Thanks for being with us
Aw,
today.
thanks for having me.
Oh, so awesome.